As men, we need many different types of tools to perform different types of jobs in our lives, whether that's to be to repair, create, or even build. However, out of all the tools we'll ever use, there's one in particular that is the most important one. And the reason for that is that this particular tool is essential for our survival as a species. And most importantly for us men, it is absolutely crucial when it comes to building a relationship with ourselves and most importantly with women. Now, this particular tool actually was being used way back in the day, back when we were cavemen and we started evolving as a species to recognize that we had a higher rate of survival getting together as a group and as a tribe versus being by ourselves. And so way back then when tribes started to be built, they weren't just accepting anybody. You had to find your way to get accepted into them. And the way that you did that was by using this particular tool called submitting for approval. Meaning that you had to prove to them your worth, that you were able to bring value to their tribe, whether it's building something or increasing their odds of survival. If you did any of that, you were accepted in. And it's one of the most essential tools that we need for survival as a species. Nobody can survive all by themselves. It takes a village, or a tribe, as they say. So fast forward to modern times, this tool is actually something that's given to us at a very early age. And when I say early, it's when we become toddlers and we start having basic communications with our parents. And usually this is the time that they start teaching us lessons about good and bad and right and wrong. And the tool, submit for approval, is an essential one for us as toddlers to determine if what we're doing is right or wrong. And we had no idea what the outside world was all about, so we had to rely on our parents to tell us if what we're doing was right or wrong. And this was done with love for their children, to help instill values so that way they can protect themselves from potential danger and also have a higher chance of survival in this world. And it always starts with the values of good or bad, right and wrong. Now, between both parents, getting approval from your mom, I'd argue, weighs far higher than the approval of your dad. Now, that's not to take away from dads, but there's just something about getting the approval of your mom. I remember growing up, I would do everything I possibly could to make her proud, make her smile. I think that's for a lot of us. That's why some of us kids turn into mama's boys when we grow up and we never grow out of it. But there's something about mom's approval that for us men turns on a setting in a tool that sets the course for the next big portion of our life when it comes to women. And just like any tool where you can do some configurations or adjust some settings to adjust how you use this tool or the effectiveness of the tool, us prizing our mom's approval at a very early age turns on this setting on the tool of submit for approval, where we prioritize the value of the approval of women higher than others. Does that sound familiar? Now you can imagine as your life progresses from this point on, as you go to school, as you meet kids, and as you meet teachers, you're using submit for approval to build friendships, to get onto teams, to build relationships with your teachers, maybe potentially become the teacher's pet, because a lot of them were women back then. This prioritization of the approval of women, is something that was our guiding compass for a long period of time when it came to using this tool. And eventually you get into adulthood, you start having relationships with women, you start dating them. You might even be using this tool, submit for approval, in business. It's actually an essential one for sales when it comes to trying to sell a product or service. Every step of the way until you get that signature on the contract, you're always submitting for approval. So we use this every day. Now, for women specifically, because we've prized the approval of a woman so highly, and because our success rate to some degree has proven to us that yes, you know what, we're able to connect with women, have relationships with them, it eventually morphs this priority for approval, this how we hold women's approval in high regard. It then ingrains itself as a belief in our mind as men that in order to be a valuable male in society, that we need an approval of a woman in order to do so. Now you can see the dangers in this. This is definitely a place where I was at when I met my ex-wife. We got married, started having kids, and I subscribed to the happy wife, happy life mentality as well, which is also part of the downfall. And over the years, it got to the point where I was trying to do everything I possibly could to seek her approval, to make her happy, that it was never good enough. And those of you who've been through this experience, I think you know how it ends. It gets to the point where no matter what you do, she's never happy. And then she finds happiness outside. And you either break up from that long-term relationship, or in a lot of cases, you go through a divorce. And it's all because at a very early stage in our life, that setting on this tool was set to prioritize a woman's approval as one of the most important things to gain in this life. Now, after my divorce, I was absolutely broken and I had to rebuild my life again. And you're probably wondering, well, how do you fix this problem with this tool? Well, it first starts with building yourself, working on yourself, and changing that belief that a woman's approval is the most important to your own approval. Now, when you start working on yourself, for me, I started working on my body because I was just out of shape. I was just ashamed of how I looked. I was weak. I started to build muscle, lose some weight. And also in time, I also started to meet new people, start building my new tribe. I got a new job. I was building my life again, and I started to feel confident. And no longer was I thinking about how a woman's approval was indicating the value of my life, because I was building it all on my own. And to see how far I came from my divorce to where I am today, it changes your whole perception of everything, especially about your value that you bring to this world and what you're capable of. And so when you do the work on yourself using the tool reference, that setting that was turned on to prioritize women's approval as the most important, well, you got to imagine over the years as you've been using this tool with that setting turned on, it got dirty, it got all mucked up, so you start working on yourself, you start cleaning this tool, start removing all of the dirt, all of the crud that got stuck in it. And by the time you start recognizing that your approval of yourself is the only one that matters, you now see this other option for the switch they can switch it over to, and it's simply labeled big dick energy. And you immediately flick that switch. And if you're not familiar with big dick energy, it's simply just having calm confidence on who you are, what you're capable of, what you're all about. And you don't really give a shit about what anybody else thinks about you, because you're at the point where the only approval that matters the most is the approval you give yourself. So as you continue using this tool in your life, you're going to continue submitting for approval as you try to build relationships with people, as you start dating women. But now you recognize that at the end of the day, even if things don't go your way, your own approval of yourself is the most important. And now you have balance, and you've become an expert at using this tool for the right purposes in your life without affecting or distorting your own view of your own value of yourself in this world. So I hope this video finds you at the right time. I hope you guys like that analogy. I mean, everybody, who doesn't want big dick energy? I mean, I'm Asian. I need all the big dick energy I can get. Just kidding. Not really, but you get the point. Thanks for watching my video. I'd love to hear your comments and thoughts below. Thanks for all your support, guys, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Peace out.